Today I'm going to be working on the Demonator. We need to get this thing ready for Easter Jeep Safari. We're going to be putting a winch on. So we've got a brand new Warn Xeon 12S winch we're going to put on, and something a little different with my Mojave. We've got the steel bumper. And what I love about the steel bumper, two things. Two things I love about the steel bumper. One, we can take these end caps off. So you take these bolts off and now you've got a stubby bumper. It separates right here, you keep your fog lights on. Jeep has designed this to put a winch in. So we can actually remove this plastic piece right here, and we can remove this cover. And now you do need to purchase an aftermarket winch mounting kit. You can put a winch in here. So we're gonna go through this today. We've got to pull the grill off so that we can get the wiring up into the battery. We've got to pull the whole bumper off in order to do this, to mount the Warn winch cradle system. And we're gonna put our new winch on. And I've got a little upgrade to the winch that we're gonna add. I guess we gotta make some room here in the garage first. Here's what we have that's going in here. So here's our Xeon 12S. So we got the 12,000 pound winch. There is a bit of difference. These have 80 feet of line versus 100 feet of line. The spool speed is a little bit slower, but we're gonna have the big Demonator, full of gear, full of everything. I wanna have the most powerful winch we can. In this box here is our winch cradle. We'll get this out here in just a minute. We've got a fair lead. The Warn winch comes with a fair lead. It's this big stainless steel looking one. So this is going to kind of match the bumper a little bit more. This is Factor 55's Haas fair lead. So this is made for synthetic rope, all smooth. This is my favorite. I love these. This is the Ultra hook. So this is the hook we're gonna use. Now your Warn winch does come with a hook as well. You see the steel hook on there, but these are just so much more versatile and stronger. We've got the titanium pin in here. So we've got a closed shackle system with the hole, the eyelet, and then we've also got a latching system so we can clip onto stuff. And we can also lock that in place if we want. We can pull that pin out. Now you can't remove that. Max load 16,000 pounds. Look at that. Supercharged V8. Let her warm up. Listen to that sound. JK should start up the battery. Look at that, it's still fresh. I haven't driven this in months. Look at that. Oh yeah, I have no air in my back tire. Takes a long time, but it slowly leaks out. Okay, that looks a little better. Probably just burned $5 worth of gas in the Demonator because I forgot it was running. I had to make a quick run out to the store and run out and grab a new battery for the EcoDiesel JL. We're taking it out camping this weekend, and I need to get it ready to go, and it needed a new battery. And while I was doing so, I figured we should probably check the oil. I haven't checked it in a little while, and I thought this would be a good time to update you guys. We haven't really talked about oil since I did that expensive oil change using the dealer oil. I've since switched to Pennzoil Platinum Euro. It meets all of the SAE requirements for the EcoDiesel. And here's a little pro tip for my Canadian viewers. You can pick this up at Canadian Tire, and if you watch their sales, it goes on sale for a really good discount. So stock up when they do have it on sale. I actually think they have it on sale right now. Go check out Canadian Tire. They're everywhere in Canada. My American viewers, maybe come up to Canada, pick up some Pennzoil. Just a little tip for you guys. If you want to save some money on your oil changes, check out the Pennzoil Platinum Euro. First of all, lesson learned from the last time we did an install. Let's make sure we've got all our parts before we start taking apart the Jeep. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this. This is the synthetic rope we're gonna put on here. So this does come with synthetic rope, but we've got the Spider Nightline rope. It's red, it's super bright. When you're doing a recovery, you can see that you've got your line out rather than a dark gray line. And it also has a woven reflective line. I don't know, you can't really see it. Oh, this white line here. This is reflective. So if we're doing a recovery at night, the headlights from the Jeep should help illuminate this line when we're using it. And in here is our winch installation kit. So we've got our hardware, we've got some zip ties because we have to temporarily hold it in place while we're mounting this up. Installation instructions, and then we've got our bracketry. is really nice because we need to run a front license plate here, and it's gonna cover up the extra space when we pull this panel off, so I can mount my license plate on an angle, and this is gonna nicely cover up the extra space that our Fairlead won't. Got some of the shims we're gonna need. The cradle itself. This is gonna go inside the bumper. Have those two brackets, one on each side, bolt to the frame. This also bolts to the frame, and then our winch bolts to this. This weighs about 85 pounds. So there is our winch. Got a winch controller in here. We've got our mounting hardware, these huge bolts that they go into the bottom, and then you slide these little nuts into these slots. Like I said, they come with a hook and strap, which we're not gonna use. This is the wire and zip tie and locking key to hold our winch line onto the barrel. This is the hardest part of this install, I think. I don't need any install instructions or hooks. And then we're gonna have, since we have our red line, we'll keep this in this nice bag. So the red on here is actually what spools around the barrel of the winch. So your first few wraps go across the barrel. So that way, if you're letting your winch line out and you let it out too far and you see red, you know you've gone too far. So this is the, I guess the downside to an all red winch line is you gotta pay a little more attention to when the pattern goes away and you have solid red. I've got a Fairlead. I'm gonna clean this up, and then we will put the winch line on the winch and then start pulling apart the deminator. We gotta take the grill out and the front bumper. There's 8 bolts, 4 on each frame horn that we have to take out, unhook the fog lights temporarily, and we can pull the whole bumper off. Be careful with this little black wire here. It's the ground for the motor, and it's very broken it on the other Jeep. Putting the grill back on. First, I'm going to remove this old hook because we do not need it. So what we've got to do is we have to pull this line through this hole to this side, and then we open this up, flare it, we put the key in, and we just pull it in so the key won't let it go through. I don't understand why we do it this way on these winches. I've installed Warren's bigger winches, and what they do is you just attach it to the side with a screw and a big flat washer, and then you spool it on. So we're gonna wrap this through like this and feed this through here. Now I'm gonna get some soapy water and put it on here to help pull this through. I really wish Warren would just make that hole 10% bigger. Oh, great. Snap the wire, but we did get it most of the way through. Just trying to pull this last inch through here because we need to bury this key in here. I need this. I need this. All right, boys, that is what we're gonna call good enough. And let's start disassembly. So we gotta pull the grill off, and it's just a bunch of plastic rivets you can pull out. We have to be able to fish the wires, the power wires, up to the battery. So once you've got all the little plastic rivets out, the grill comes off fairly easy. It's just clipped in along the bottom, and we can just kind of pull it back. What do you guys think of the black grill versus getting it painted? I actually saw a really cool photo of one that had an orange accent in one of the grill slots. It was really cool. And we are working on a wrap for the Jeep, so that's gonna be coming. So you can see how much more room we have to work with here. And if you didn't have your bumper swapped, you may have some extra plastic bits that you have to remove as well. There we go. So we've got the outer bolts off, which are the ones that are much, much easier to put back on once we get the winch on. But now we got to get these inner ones out. Take these other two off here, and you can see the orange, the tow hooks aren't bolted to the bumper. They're bolted right to the frame, giving them the strength they need to do recoveries. This should just come off. Just like that. Now that we have our bumper off, yeah, here's what your Jeep looks like with no bumper on. So we got to remove this plate. This is the winch cover plate. Oh, I didn't even notice this. There's settings here on the bottom of this. Bolt 1 and 2. I don't know what that means. Someone Google this for me and tell me in chat. What do those 4 settings mean? Which one is the most powerful? Because that's what we want all the time. We want to strip bolts like crazy. So they use these little clips to hold this plate on. Look at this one, it's all mangled. And now we should have some nuts in the kit to replace these. And we're gonna use those bolts to fill these holes. There's these skid plates on the bottom of the frame horns. We're gonna use these bolts as part of this. We're gonna pull these off on both sides. And we're gonna retain this hardware. This, okay, so we're gonna reuse our hardware on these brackets. So we've got a little bit of play in both of these sides. This is where it kind of gets handy to have a second person, because you kind of have to wrangle this all together at the same time. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna put these bolts through here like that. And we have to get this lined up. Then we're gonna put the nut on the back side of this at the same time while we're holding this. So the big zip ties are gonna loop this down and over the frame, hold all of this in place, because what we need are the studs off the bumper to hold this whole cradle in place in its final position. So I'm gonna go through here, through this, zip tie this. We'll put the other one on here. So we gotta line these bolts up, and then we can tighten this down. But this will give us enough support to hold our winch while it's sitting in there, while we wrangle all this back together. So as long as you have all this lined up, your bumper is gonna go back on really nice. Okay, so we got our 4 bolts, our 4 nuts, and these are gonna go on the bottom of here. Now, what we wanna do first, and we gotta put slot the nuts into the bottom of the winch before we drop it in, and hopefully they don't go anywhere, and then we can thread the bolts up from the bottom. Ah, it happened. There's one. What's going on here? One of the holes, oh boy. One of the holes isn't fully drilled. Oh my goodness. Okay, so there's our 3rd hole. Well, look at this. Something has held that hole in place. Nope. That is not coming out with prying. There we go. Look at this. Little tiny piece didn't come out in the laser cutting. Nobody's gonna see that. Now, these are supposed to be torqued to spec. Does anyone want to look up the torque spec on your winch bolts for me? And we'll torque them down? Or do we just give them a couple ugga-duggas? Hey, look at that. So we got 3 ugga-duggas or 30 foot-pound. Thank you, Jendal Overland, for looking up the torque specs. Jendal Overland is actually another YouTuber with a Jeep Gladiator. Go check it out. Probably should have put a few more ugga-duggas in here. We've got to get the bumper back on, get those 8 nuts tightened down. When all of this is together, it's really hard to get the bolt through, but I'm gonna show you a trick if we need to. Oh, and we gotta pull this plate off because now we're gonna have winch line coming out. Free winch plate. So because we've added some metal here, we have some spacer plates that go on the outside studs. Oh, we got to get the nuts on the studs, but we've got these brackets in place now, and the winch I don't know if you guys have any secrets for doing this, other than using your children's with smaller arms. This is a really annoying part. That was not successful.
What are you doing?
We are putting a winch on. We need your tiny fingers. What was happening is the zip tie that was on here, it was actually in the way of putting that nut on. So I just cut that off since we had
Found it.
we had 3 nuts on each side. I mean, this bumper's not gonna go anywhere. And now Maddie is here helping. Hey, Mads. Do you wanna try putting this one on?
Hi, people. Sure.
Go underneath.
Put it on there.
And I will guide you through it. So hold that.
Got it.
Ah, we got it.
Haha, I did it.
All right, so we've got these 2 inner bolts to do still. Maddie is here helping put the socket on and the extensions, which is helping me a ton. Do you have the right socket? Oh, you've got the 15. Okay, sorry. Need that one. These upper bolts are easier to do from the top, and we'll get them done as far as we can, and then we'll put a deep socket on.
We're in. Socket.
Extension.
Extension. I'm in. Tell me.
Okay. Tighten these up. So we've got all our bolts on. Before we wire this up, we will get the fair lead on. So we've got our filler plate. It's gonna go on like that. Decide which of these bolts we need to use. I think these ones here. I was gonna show you guys this trick earlier. Get a piece of wire, wrap it around the threads a few times. Just like that. And we'll do the same for this one. Now we've just got to tighten that down. We need to get our power wires fished up and through here somehow. And we have way less room than the factory engine bay. Okay, so this should be a lot easier for you guys without Hemi swaps. Okay, push through. There we go. Push all the way till there's no slack left. Okay, now if we put our reservoir back. Oh no, we gotta redo the black one.
Are you kidding me?
No, it's over top of the frame. And then we'll hook this up. So we've got our negative on that side. Our positive's gonna go on that side. And the winch is powered. What do you think?
It's okay.
It's okay. I'm gonna slide this back in place. All about clean. I don't wanna mess up the Ginger's beautiful work under here. The Ginger can fix it if he doesn't like it. Hey, success. All right, this is not the way to wrap your winch. I'm just telling you right now, but I'm gonna temporarily spool this in because I need to go somewhere to put tension on it. There are a million videos out there on how to spool your winch. Make sure our snap ring is in place properly. Looks pretty good. Demonator is still sitting high enough that we're not riding on the bump stops, which is good. This is the start of the road to Easter Jeep Safari, so we got to get some more mods. The axles lift, aux switches coming up. If you want to support the channel, check out my Patreon. Put a link right here. Subscribe, don't miss the rest of the build series as well as our adventures down in Easter Jeep Safari. Leave a like, any comments or questions, leave them down below and I'll try to help you guys out. I'm gonna go have some dinner. This has been a fun one.